Welcome to Ask The.Gear.Locker, Episode 1. This is the series where you ask questions down in the comments, and I answer them every month. I posted a questionnaire on Instagram and my YouTube page and got some awesome comments and questions from you guys. So without further ado, let's jump right into them. The first one comes from AVG Sitzler, and he asks, what made you pick KSK Impressions? And this is a fantastic question. Back when I started Airsoft, I kind of was figuring out what AEG I wanted, and I landed on a JG G36C from Airsplat. Now, mind you, this was 2011, 2012-ish. And to me, I was like, oh, this is a cool gun, but I don't see the Army using it. So what armies do use it? And I realized like, oh, okay, German gun, so the Germans would use it. And that kind of sat in the back of my mind. I evolved a little bit. I grabbed an M4, an AK. I tried different things out. But in the back of my head, I was always like, German kits are pretty cool. And then around 2017, the old KVB Instagram Schattengruppe started tagging me in photos. Now, back then, my page was Airsoft and CT, so I was kind of sharing what a lot of the community in Connecticut was doing. And to me, I thought that their kits were awesome. It was super cool. So I started doing some research, and I found some of the Airsoft Society posts and kit lists, and I was like, this is it. I think I want to do this. So around 2017 is when I decided, like, all right, KVB, KSK Kit, let's do it. And this kind of also answers another question I got from Fabi0001. And he asks, I would be very interested in how you got into German impressions specifically. So keeping the story going, once I realized all of the stuff that was involved, I said, all right, I'm either gonna have to dive right in and go head first, or I can do it pretty farbally, if that's even a word. So I started gathering little pieces. And meanwhile, I was at college, so this took me a while to put together. But at one point, I finally got the kit to an acceptable level, and I said, all right, this is it, let's go. And I started putting together as many different kit pieces as I could. I started working on matching things that they had in specific reference photos and organizing my pouch setup that way. And that helped me learn a little bit more about building an impression. And as soon as I finished a base 2010 to 2013 KSK kit, I saw another person do a 2014 kit and I said, hey, that's pretty cool. So I bought a Gen 5 with tan mesh. And I realized so much of the kit crossed over with recon kits from more modern times that I should just build out a G36 KA4. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm one of the first people in the US to build a KA4. And goodness, that build had a lot of work that needed to be done still. And ultimately, as things went on, I started gathering more and more pieces, putting together more and more kits with things that I already had and small pieces that I needed to add, that it all came together to what we know today. So that's kind of how I got into the German kits. Now the next question comes from 0131_PSC_kid. And he says, Multitarn gear when? And I'll be honest, probably not anytime soon, if ever. Multitarn kit is super cool and I respect it, but it's not really something I'm interested in. I started to dive a little bit more into historical kits, so I think that's where my focus is going to be for the time being. I'm not saying never in the future, but I wouldn't bet on it. And Denkger W asks my opinion on the VFC G36 GBBR. And if you want to build an accurate G36 KA4 replica, this is one of the best ways you can go. Although it's not at all available in the United States, and I don't think they're producing it much anymore, so it's pretty hard to find. But the body and realism that you get from a gas blowback rifle is unmatched in Airsoft, so I would highly recommend it. Although I will say, it is a gas blowback, so good luck long term. Probably going to experience a lot of part breakage and a lot of issues, and I wouldn't really trust it on day-to-day games, let alone a milsim event. So I think they're great. I think they're really cool. I've never shot one. I've never had my hands on one, but I know guys who do, and as much as they like them, they wouldn't trust them long term. Although, if I can get one in my hands to review, then maybe my mind will change. We'll have to see. The next question comes from Mr. Ferrucci, and he asks, the best AEG MG on the market. This is one of my good friends who always runs machine guns, and I have only personally held 3 machine gun airsoft replicas in my hand, let alone fired them. And they include my MG4, Ferrucci's LCT M60, which is fully upgraded, and a customized LCT RPD with a chopped barrel from another one of my good friends. And truthfully, every single one of those replicas I just said is custom built or put together with modified parts. So no stock AEG MG is gonna work amazingly from, I guess, the limited experience I have. The best one is the one you build yourself and the friends you make along the way. Dwee Levry, who commonly submits to my Roast Your Kit series, asks, do you also shoot real pew-pews? If yes, which one? Absolutely, I love going to the range, especially with friends who have a lot cooler stuff than I do. I only have a couple, so I go to the range occasionally when I can, but a lot of my other friends bring some really neat stuff, so check out this video in the top corner if you want to see some of the cool stuff we've shot before. Some of my personal favorites include the Colt 723, M16A1, M1 Garand, M1 carbine, and some HK guns here and there. Clearly, I have a soft spot for the historical stuff. And our last question comes from LimoBot, and he says, the best event you've ever been to? Pick it wisely, bub. For those of you that don't know, this is one of my good friends and founder of Broken Arrow Events, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, 100% of the bias aside, the best event that I have ever been to was Bay's Junction City 2. This is before I was on staff, so I guess you could say maybe the bias is removed, but I loved every single aspect of this event. This is the first event that the band performed at. First one that I went to that I felt the squad bay was a home for me. We had so much fun in this tent. We got yelled at a few times. It was just such a cool experience and really helped me become part of the community, and I think that's why it was my favorite event. The combat in it was awesome, but the hominess and the group camaraderie was definitely the coolest part of that event for me. Now, with that being said, that wraps up Ask the Gear Locker episode 1. If you want to get your question in the next video, leave it down in the comments below. I read 100% of them on every single video, and this one is no exception. So if you want a chance to get yours featured, ask it below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.